The shifting tonality of the Chinese in the last few weeks and some of the decisions they seem to be taking back, how do you respond to that?
No, the shifting tonality has often been there. Look, the Chinese have said sweet things in the past. There's been just before Galwan, there were a number of positive noises. Xi Jinping was on a swing in Ahmedabad when the PLA first marched in and occupied and sat on our territory. We've had the entire setback in the well, you know all the examples, but the Demchok issue, the Depsang issue, the Doklam issue in 2017, the 72-day standoff. We've had no shortage of incidents where the Chinese will be talking sweet, and then there'll be some incident which throws us completely off balance, and it'll be resolved temporarily or otherwise, usually with the net outcome being in the favor of the Chinese. Doklam, for example, they withdrew after that standoff, but right now they're back in a different part of the Doklam Peninsula, and they do have now a capacity to oversee and interdict our highway connecting West Bengal to the northeast. We have a serious challenge that we can't be oblivious of, but that doesn't mean we shouldn't talk to them. We can't afford not to trade with them. Our business people tell us that they need these Chinese goods for their own purposes. So we, as I said earlier, we will have to have a multiplicity of these relationships, but let's not do it with any illusions. Let's deal with the Chinese. Let's buy whatever they're willing to sell us. Let's try and persuade them not to withhold things we need. But at the end of the day, Pranab, that's something we should do with our eyes wide open. I mean, let's say promiscuity has its advantages in international relations, but I mean, this is not a sort of old Hindu marriage. This is a question of quite simply attempting to maintain your relations with as many countries as possible, as long as it suits you, but really not kidding yourself as to how fragile your relationships with big countries can be. Washington has taught us that lesson again. So why should we want to learn the lesson the hard way with Beijing? I think we should go into this new tonality that you talked about with a very, very great consciousness that tomorrow there could be another incident down the road. But let's make the best of things while the going is good.
I think we are running out of time, but there's a popular question, particularly among journalists. Are you interested to become the Kerala CM?
Pranab, actually, you'd be surprised. I've absolutely never sought after any position in my entire career. Every job I have held from my UN days onwards, people have sought me out and said, we need you for this, and I have served. That's basically been the way it's been. I don't think there's a single person on this planet who can turn around and say that Shashi asked for something or did something. I did put myself forward for the Congress presidency, as you may remember, yes, and that was because a number of people persuaded me to do so. It was not an idea that had occurred independently to me. Obviously, I believe that Kerala needs a change. I believe that the change is indispensable, particularly for the kinds of things the Economic Times is concerned about. The economy is in dreadful shape. We are so much in debt that we are spending more money the government spends more money in Kerala every year on servicing the loans than on development expenditure. And we cannot carry on like this. They're essentially borrowing money every September to pay the salaries for the rest of the year. It's the second most indebted state in the entire country. We've got to get the economics right. We've got to become a place that's friendly to business. We've got to create, I mean, I've been an advocate of something that we could perhaps have in other states, but Kerala desperately needs, which is an Investor Protection Act, to tell you folks that if you sink your money into Kerala, you will not lose it other than for business reasons, but not because of politicians or bureaucrats or trade unions or anybody else tying you in knots. That we will have a ban on hartals, that we will slash 90% of the regulations we have that makes every little